what's NUS and NUS College?
Have money to buy Zoom Premium. It is an achievement in itself to get into a program that is so competitive already, where they're so annoying. Like the minute they get stressed, they die. Like you get a lot of money. Yeah, the memories you made along.
All right, so today I have my friend Keerthi with me, and today we are going to talk about NUS College. I know you guys have a lot of questions. First, to start off, let me introduce Keerthi. So I've known her for about 2 years now, and she's a business major, and probably she can tell more about what she has been up to and what she's been doing so far.
Yes. Hi, everyone. My name is Keerthana, but my friends usually call me Keerthi. I am a local student. I was actually born in India, but I moved to Singapore when I was very young. So I entered NUS through the local system. I did the A levels in Singapore, and that's how I got in. Um, and I am a business major, like Suryansh mentioned. I am specializing in marketing as well as entrepreneurship, and I am a gender studies minor, along with the entire NUS College academic pathway. Most interesting fact about me right now is that I'm currently speaking to you from New York. It is 12:08 on October 6th, 12:08 p.m. I
Yeah,
think it's
it
like
was so
October
hard. It was so hard
to
to
find a
find
time.
this. Yeah.
But be on a program called NUS Overseas Colleges, which is a 12-month internship program. I mean, there's different durations, but the New York one is 12 months long. So yeah, I'm speaking to you guys from New York.
So let's dive right into the topic. A lot of people have asked me so many times that what's NUS and NUS College? And honestly, it's been 2 years I've been studying here, and I really don't know how to answer it properly. So
Yeah.
what do you think, like, what is NUS College according to you?
Yeah, okay. So I think the main distinction, like NUS College is still part of NUS. I think a lot of people confuse
Yeah.
it for the same thing because like
Mhm.
university, college means the same thing. But I think I think they could have been a bit smarter with the naming.
Yeah,
But
exactly. Yeah.
the NUS College is
Mhm.
essentially a kind of program that is modeled off of the concept of honors colleges in the US. So an honors college essentially is a program where the entire like student body in the honors college takes a set curriculum, like it's an interdisciplinary curriculum that is compulsory for everybody. So a lot of the top Ivies that you see have these honor colleges, like
Yeah.
UNC Chapel Hill. Chapel Hill would be like the honor college of UNC.
Mhm.
So things like that. And I think like that's the biggest like difference is that NUS College does still come under like NUS's like umbrella of colleges and like options, but like NUS
Mhm.
College is the honors college of NUS. And I think also another thing is NUS College is a residential program that lasts
Right.
4 years. It is the only
Mhm.
residential program that lasts throughout the entire duration
Entire.
of your
Yeah.
candidature. Because like other residential colleges are 2 years, or certain like
Mhm.
residences give you like semestral options. So this is kind of like the main difference between the two. Yeah.
And if you ask me, honestly, how I applied for NUS College was that it just popped up on my application and I just filled in the form. So I didn't even know what I was getting into. And I don't know about Keith now. Like, what do you do? Like, did
I
you like read it up online or
I
did you just?
I knew.
Hmm,
So when I was applying for uni,
yeah.
actually NUS was been in like the list of unis that I was applying to. I was very set
Oh yeah,
on
no,
going to
that's true.
London.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was very set on going to London to do law.
Mhm.
And I had a seat at King's and everything. But I very, very last minute pivoted to business. It's
Mhm.
like a story for another day. But when I applied to NUS, I knew what NUS College was because I was really intent on getting into Yale NUS if I was to
Mhm.
stay within Singapore. And right when I was going to apply, they kind of like shut down Yale NUS.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I'm saying this in the most like politically correct term, but essentially, NUS College is the merger of Yale NUS and the University Scholars Program, which are two very, very prestigious programs, right? So because I was following along kind of like the news on Yale NUS, like Yale NUS College and USP, I knew what NUS College was, so I knew what I was getting myself into. But I know a lot of people applied to NUSC thinking they were the same thing because they were like,
Yeah.
obviously, I want to be in NUS.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the application, I'm not sure if they've changed it on the application like this year because like a lot of us have feedback being like, what is going on? Um,
Mm. No, I'm
but
pretty sure it's
we
still the same.
applied.
Like it just pops up on
Is
their
it?
screen, and they're
Yeah.
just so confused that what's this yes and no option we are getting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know. I think like when I did it, it was like a little checkbox that you tick, and then like
Hmm.
everything else, you tick that checkbox, and then there's like a whole
And
different question,
new
essay that you
sections pops up.
answer.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I think it's
Um,
still sort of the same. Yeah.
yeah. So, well, at least now you know what you're getting yourself into. Yeah. Um, okay, what do you think are like the main differences? Like, do you think NUS College is like more academically rigorous, or what do you think about the academics in general?
Okay, I think coming from a computer science background, I think you may have a totally different perspective on it. I don't know. I
I
feel
do.
like it's a bit harder for me rather
Yeah.
than the normal CS modules because I have friends who took NUSC and they dropped out of NUSC and they, yeah. And now that they're taking different modules, I can actually compare the workload. So at least for me personally, since I feel NUSC is more of like it has a lot of interdisciplinary modules, which may not possibly align with CS because I have a CS mind
Yeah.
and like if you guys don't know, Keerthana is like a sort of an all-rounder person. She's very good. Yeah.
You're so
And a
cute.
lot of and a lot of like NUSC modules are like literature, English oriented, or probably like you have to write a lot of essays, do a lot of research and stuff. And that's not me, I would
Yeah.
say. So I think it was a bit hard for me in the start, but now I'm sort of used to it. So sometimes CS people might say that they are actually doing a major in NUSC, but not CS. That's what the story of CS people is.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree. I guess the focus on interdisciplinary, right?
Mhm.
In a way, it is very like even the way, even though the modules itself are interdisciplinary, like you're learning like
Yeah.
sometimes you're learning like sciencey things or tech
Science.
things.
Yeah.
A lot
Mhm.
of the way it is graded, I mean, there are modules like centered around like literature and sociology and philosophy
Mhm.
as well. Don't get me wrong, but I feel like a lot of the way we're graded is like essays. So if you
Essays.
don't
Yeah.
have like strong writing background, you
Mhm.
might find yourself like struggling a little bit. But not to say that like there are way too many like resources available for you to like
Oh,
actually
yeah.
like flunk out things. Like so if you like drop out of NUSC, I don't think it's because it's like difficult and you don't know how to handle it. I think it's just like
Mhm.
it's more of a choice being like, what is this actually doing for my education? Like
For
my
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
but I think like the professors are amazing. It's like very small class sizes. So it's like 1 to like 20 students max. I think even lesser now. And there's
Yeah.
certain classes. I think I took a class last year where it was literally like 5, 6 students. And
Oh,
I
what
loved
was it?
it. Was a making connections module and it
Oh, I
was
see. Hmm.
studies module by one of my favorite profs of all time. And
Hmm.
that actually kind of like made me want to like pursue like a gender studies minor,
Hmm.
even though I
Hmm.
have to like overload like crazy once I'm back from New York.
Oh
I
my
think
God. Yeah.
um I just loved what I learned and I loved how I was
Hmm.
learning. Having smaller class sizes and having like a prof that will literally know you by name and like know
Yeah.
so many things about you by the end of it is something that you don't get in like bigger classes. I think like especially
Yeah.
for C, you're
I would
sitting
definitely
in
agree. I would
yeah,
definitely agree. Yeah.
you're
Because
sitting in a
mostly,
lecture hall.
yeah. Because mostly
Yeah.
for like our CS classes, since the CS cohort is so freaking big, we have mostly a lot of classes on Zoom until you're like in year three or something when the class size actually reduces. So I
Yeah.
would say that smaller sizes for NUSC is literally a plus point. You get to know
Yeah.
the prof, you get to know what the prof is currently working on.
Yeah.
And if it's something which it aligns with you, you can actually work along with the prof. You can approach them very easily.
Yeah.
So I think this is something which is
Yeah.
a
So
plus.
I think
Yeah.
like really interesting was like Prof Shivani recently like got a grant to
Hmm.
do some research. So
Oh,
she's
I'm also working under her. Yeah. Okay, carry on.
yeah, so you IES, right, with her.
Yeah. Yeah.
But she got a research grant from like Sciences Po, which is like a French.
Mm.
So she's like a visiting faculty in Sciences
Yeah.
Po, I
Yeah.
think, if I'm not wrong. I might be getting
No,
this
you're right.
wrong.
Yeah. Yeah.
But she managed to get a grant and then she just
Mm.
reached out to me being like, hey, we're interested in like some sort of
Mm.
research position. Would you be interested in this? And the thing is like as a business student, this
Mm.
position generally would not be open to me because
Yeah.
I do not have like a strong sociology background or a strong
Mm.
philosophy background. But through these
Mm.
classes, you're genuinely like, this is what interdisciplinary education means, right? And the thing is, like, a lot of us kind of like I'm always worried that I made the wrong choice, like with biz. Like every week or like month, I have some sort of like crisis where I'm like, what if this is not
Mm,
what I like? And I think
yeah.
like NEC allows you to be intellectually challenged in a way that
Mm,
you don't think that you're learning only one thing. Like you're
one thing.
learning,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Exactly. And I think like it sort of allows you to connect different subjects, different majors
for
together.
sure,
And
for
also
sure.
since like in the residential college itself, you have so many people from all different backgrounds. You get to meet
Yeah,
them and you get to know them since
yeah,
the class size is again very small. So you know all the people in your class and you get to know them and you can possibly make something out of it, right?
yeah. Like currently like my roommates, I'm not sure if you can hear them outside. They're like
Yeah.
yelling at each other. But Susan and Anushka, they are one of my like some of my closest friends from NUSC,
Yeah.
and we came to this program together and we were able to
Mm,
like find housing together. So it's like always a good time. Like we're always having fun. And I
yeah.
think also like yeah, like coming from experiences, I feel like you learn so much about the world without even having like traveled so much. I think I have another friend who's also on this program. His name is Chinyu. He's from Taiwan. And we
Mm,
actually planned a trip to Taiwan last year. So last New Year's, I was in Taiwan with him and like another friend
mm,
of ours. And it's just like such good times because so many people come from such diverse backgrounds, not only are you like learning so much, but you have the
mm,
firsthand like the opportunity to like go and like genuinely experience like how they've lived life, where they've lived, things that they
yeah.
know about. So it's
Mm.
always, always very interesting. Like your life is never boring in NUSC. Like something or the
Mm.
other is always happening. Yeah.
Yeah, as you mentioned, something's always happening. So if you go down, there may be some sort of booths or some different clubs organizing something. There may be like free ice creams or anything. Like
Yeah.
something is always
But
happening. That's so true.
yeah.
Yeah, I would agree to that. Okay, so we got cut off because I don't have money to buy Zoom Premium. Anyways,
Huh?
so so
Dude, if you
let's
guys subscribe, then Suryansh will have money to buy Zoom Premium.
Yep, yeah, you should subscribe now. Go. Okay, anyways, let's not talk about the global perspective, global options for NUSC students.
Yeah.
So all I know is NUSC has the NOC Green Lane, and
Mhm.
that's what Keerthana is doing right now. So what is Green Lane?
Okay, this is a bit complicated because
Mm.
I did not get the green lane. My green lane was
Oh,
different.
oh,
Because
that's interesting.
the NUSC being like a very new thing, a lot of stuff
Mm,
wasn't set up when we came in. So all of it was like
mhm,
plans and stuff. So what happened was I applied for the NUS Overseas College's Southeast Asia program, which is a 3-month summer program at the end of my
mm,
year one summer. So I applied at the end of year one, semester one. And I went to Thailand for 3 months. So at that time, the Green Lane was not set up yet. So I had my interview and I had everything, and I went
oh,
through. And then after I came back from Thailand, my Green Lane became an alumni Green Lane. So I didn't use the NUSC
oh,
Green at all to
oh,
get into it.
I didn't know that. Oh, okay, I see.
Yeah. So because I
Right.
had like an alumni Green Lane, like I was able to like meet the program managers of like New York
Mm,
and Silicon Valley a lot earlier. And I pretty much got into the program like a lot earlier as well because I was able to
yeah,
like meet them, talk to them, and then
right.
yes. Okay, so what is a green lane and how does it work? Generally, NOC, it's a very like program. I mean, it's a very interesting program because a lot of people have very different experiences like applying for it. Some people say that their interview was trash and that they literally like their life was like roasted, all of their
Yeah.
choices were belittled. I think that they are definitely very stern because like the time and the money that they put into you is an investment, especially
I
for
would
like
agree.
certain where NUS pays you, like gives like
Mm,
tops up like your amount. In New York, they pay for like a lot of things that we don't see, like
mm.
insurance. Like
Oh,
I have to pay taxes, so they pay a lot of money to like lawyers, to help us deal with our
mm.
tax. It's crazy.
That's
But
okay.
we do get a stipend here as well, so we do get
Yeah.
paid by the companies as well. So everywhere you go, you get paid by the companies. But obviously, certain companies in Southeast Asia, for example, don't pay
Mm,
as well. And then obviously that you'd need a top up, and there's like a bunch of grants. So it's like money is never an option. The entire idea is like the time and effort that they put into like grooming you and kind of like because you are a representation of them and you're a representation
mm.
of NUS and like
Yeah.
Singapore's workforce, this different economy, right? So they're very, very
Right.
stern and like selective with who they let into the program.
Mm,
Um, not to say that it's very hard to get into. Please always apply. Don't reject yourself before anyone rejects you. I think that's like just my motto. But yeah, so a Green Lane, how it works is that there's a couple of different interviews to get into the NOC program. And what the Green Lane does, it allows you to bypass that first interview because they
Yeah.
believe that like being part of NUSC, you've already kind of like, it is an achievement in itself to get into a program that is so competitive already. So because like NOC kind of like mimics that competitiveness and like selecting like the cream of the crop type thing, that's why it's easier for NUSC students to go into NOC.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I'm not wrong, I haven't kept up. There's a lot of like new rules and stuff, so I'd always like recommend asking like your direct senior who knows a bit more, or like obviously the NOC people who know the most.
Yeah.
There's definitely like a lot of resources available online if you're interested. But yeah, like to my like the extent of my knowledge, that is what the Green Lane is, and that's how it works. But the Green Lane does not mean that you have no interview at all. So you don't have an interview with the panel of NOC people. What you do have is a chat directly with the program manager, which I personally think, this is my opinion, by the way, which I
Yeah.
personally think is a bit tougher because program
Let's
managers
see. Yeah.
are even more specific in who they're looking
Yeah.
for. Obviously, having interacted with, so for example, like my program manager, having interacted with like New Yorkers for so long and like New York offices for so long, he knew that there was a certain type of student he needed to
Students
take.
that they want. Yeah.
So if you did not hit this kind of like criteria that he had set for you that was like region specific, like country specific, you wouldn't make the cut. And
Yeah.
I know a lot of people who got like rejected from that fireside chat. So it does not mean it does. I don't know if the things have changed. I don't know if it like means you get in automatically. But like, yeah, don't take it for granted, I feel. Put in effort, make a good impression.
By the way, for people who didn't know what NOC is, so NOC is like an entrepreneurship program where you go on exchange to another university, take some modules there, and also work at the same time. Whereas SEP is the student exchange program, and what it is just a generic exchange program where you go to another uni, just take modules and study. So NUSC also has the SEP program, and it's called NUSC SEP. What's different here is that, let's say if you're in a major, then you'll have that major SEP options. So your faculty will give you those SEP options. Whereas for NUSC, it's a different thing altogether. So NUSC has tie-ups with different colleges. And these are it may be the same colleges as you find in the faculty ones, but it could be different. So that's all. What benefit, if you talk about, then it could be that NUSC ones might be a bit easier for you to get in because there's not really a lot of people you're competing with as compared to your faculty. Yeah. So also, yeah, there's this thing called GEX, and I haven't done it yet. And I'm not sure, wait, Katie, have you done it yet?
No, I haven't.
GEX
I do not
program,
have.
no, right?
They did not allow me to go.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
she's been going out a lot. They don't want her anymore.
No, like the NOC program needs you to stay in the country the summer before you leave, and my program
Mhm.
only ends end of next summer, so I unfortunately don't
Yeah.
have any summer. But yeah, so GX is like a month-long trip to a couple of different regions. I think they have Paris, New York, Chicago, a bunch of cities in Indonesia, in Southeast Asia. So they
Southeast
have
Asian.
like
Yeah.
Bali, not Bali, Lombok, yeah, Bali, Lombok,
Hmm.
Chiang Mai, a bunch really, really, really cool cities, and all of them like have like a different topic. So for example, like New York, given that it's like a hub of like media, finance, diplomacy, it was about like New York being a global city, and I think like all my friends were able to. So they stayed in Colombia, which is very interesting on its own. And they were able to like go to the UN. They had tours in the UN. They went to the 9/11 memorial. So very, very interesting stuff that they were able to do. And I think also like they were given funding for this trip. Obviously, not entirely, not 100% funded. There are certain trips where the amount that you receive as a grant is more than how much you spend, depending on like your
Yeah.
lifestyle and everything. but there are certain trips that are a bit more like pricey, for example, like New York. But
Yeah.
as much as possible, you are given like financial aid. Even if you are not like requiring a financial aid, you are given like some sort of grant.
Yeah,
Um,
NSC
yeah,
is. I think it's
which
for
allows you to
everyone.
experience
Mm.
it and not feel guilty for because like who would be able to come and spend a month in New York or a month in Paris with like your best friends? I think that's like genuinely, and it's like it's literally being handed to you on a silver platter. The only thing you need to do is like write some essays. Just I don't
Yeah.
understand why I do it. Yeah. Is it
Um,
competitive? I haven't applied for it, so I'm not
I think
sure.
it is based on what I've heard, it's again competitive because like why won't people want to do this? So
Yeah.
it is again competitive, but uh if you are really passionate about something and you reflect it in your personal statement, what which they ask for, then probably you'll get in.
And I think another thing is also now it's open up to the general US community, so
Yeah.
it's not exclusive anymore. But the thing is, a lot of the professors heading these programs are NUSC professors who you have access to.
True.
Um, so
And
you can meet up for them and be like, hey, I really want to be in this program, and they
mm,
can see what strings they can pull on their end.
yeah.
And that's like that's access that other people might not have. So
And
yeah.
also they will still prioritize NUSC first, and only let's say if there's slots left, which is not really like gonna happen, I feel. But if there are slots left, only then they open it to the NUS wide students out here.
Yeah.
Yeah. And okay, another interesting thing which people ask about is IEX, so
Yeah,
the Impact Experience Project.
that's
So
correct.
yeah, so it's like a 2 year module, if you may. It's a 2 year
Course.
module which you take a course depending on your faculty again. So it's a lot of things which you can, I think, probably read up online. But
Yeah.
depending on your major, you either do it for 2 years or 1 years.
Oh, yeah.
So, so Kirti, so what are you doing for IEX?
So IEX is like a service learning project, right? So it's
Yeah.
very centered on community help.
Mm.
Um, I think I have a lot of opinions about IEX, but like for the sake of this, I think I do a regional IEX. So my IEX is
Uh,
in Bali. So I've gone on like a couple trips to Bali. I
she does not study here anymore. Yeah. Anyways, yeah.
ended up I ended up actually getting my diving certification for this course. I had to pay for that on my own. The school didn't pay for that.
Wait, was
But
it a part
I
of your thing? Was it a part of your project?
no, but I do dive
Oh,
for my
okay.
so scuba diving. I ended up getting my certification when I was in Thailand on NOC. By far the scariest experience of my life, but I will not shut up about it. Yeah, so like that's my fun fact. Anywhere and everywhere right now is I got a diving certification. Yeah, so my project is a bit more science based. We are focusing on a strong community aspect to it, but essentially it focuses a lot on like coral conservation and like marine restoration in
Oh,
a
mm,
specific part of Bali called Les Village, which is in Buleleng. We have community partners there called Sea Communities who are doing very, very interesting stuff. And yeah, so we are focusing on sea snails that are eating the
right.
corals that they're like regrowing. And
Mm,
it's very, very harmful for the corals as well because they put in all this
mm,
effort to like regrow all of them and then they just completely like they're just gone in a matter of days because of how quick
oh,
like these snails eat them.
mm,
I did not even know that there were snails in the ocean until I started this, so the more you know.
mm,
But yeah, I think um we currently are focusing on how to like incentivize. So the only way to get rid of this is to just keep plucking them out. There's
yeah.
unfortunately nothing
Oh,
we can do to the world right now
right.
because they themselves are so delicate and they're so like,
Mm.
bro, they're so annoying. Like the minute they get stressed, they die. Like
See a
I
student
like
in NUS? No, kidding, kidding. Yeah.
we spent a long time like kind of like going back and forth, but we
Mm,
all have like we have like different supervisors and we have like
mm,
supervisors who know what they're doing, so they're able to help
mm,
us, and obviously they have connections to like
right.
the Tropical Marine Science Institute and
Mm,
stuff, so we're always like well helped, and it's very interesting like who's gonna go and say like, oh, I did marine restoration in Bali when I was 20? Like, I will, but like not everyone. So I think
Sure,
like
it's
it's experience.
flex. Hmm.
Yeah. So wait, what's your IEX about? Is that a
So
Prof?
for me, yeah, it's under Prof. Shivani. So, okay, IEX has two aspects. One is regional, which Keerthi is doing, whereas I'm doing the local one, so it's in Singapore. So what we're working is for period poverty in Singapore. So we are not trying to probably, I wouldn't say eradicate because it's a very big term, but rather we are trying to educate people about this issue which happens in Singapore, even though Singapore is like it's like a very developed country, but still such basic thing happens here in Singapore. So what we are trying to do is we are trying to make some uh, documentary or probably like education package or conduct some workshops to try to educate people about this period poverty. And we are also trying to tie up with other organizations in Singapore to sort of provide the people who are currently facing this issue to provide them with the menstrual products and probably try to help them. Yes. So
Yeah.
that's my project. And it's been 3 semesters now, so I still have one more semester left. And currently we are focusing on interviewing people and try to make a documentary. So it's going to be on YouTube, so you may watch it too. Yeah. And
Yeah.
yes, you do get funding for IEX as well to do your projects. Yeah.
You get a lot of money.
So in NUSC, you also have this thing called IGs. So if you're interested about something, I don't know, let's say you love tea and you want a IG just about tea, chai. So you can actually fill in a form and say that I love tea. This is why I love it. And like, this is what I want to do with my IG. IG stands for interest group. And you ask a couple of people to sign up for it, maybe like 10 or 20,
I
probably.
think
I don't know
five.
what's the minimum number. Oh, is it
I think
five? Oh, so you just need five people who have the same interest, and you can actually fill in the form and make your own interest group spearheaded by you, and then you can get funding for it. And you guys can enjoy, have a cup of
yeah.
tea while you talk about something.
We have
Yeah,
a
so
lot of
if
strategies already. We have a couple. There's one for F1 that I'm in.
oh yeah.
I was in NUSC Productions, which is like our theater
Mm,
IG, and we have like a performance that we do
oh,
once a year as well. And I was in netball for a bit.
oh, I didn't know
There's a
you
couple of
play.
sports ones. Yeah, most of the sports ones I went like for a couple of sessions. And like some of the girls go to soccer as well. So like, and a lot of
Mm,
the time there's like inter-faculty games and inter like
right.
college. So you go up
Mm,
against the different colleges and you play all these sports. And I think like well, there's like gaming ones too. There's like NUSC chess, there's NUSC Valorant,
mm,
NUSC Clash
yeah.
and but yeah, we have an Indian IG called NUSC Curries.
Oh yeah.
There's a bunch of like existing ones already, so
Mm,
you'll definitely find something you're interested in. But if you're
yeah.
not, then if you don't find anything, then you just need a couple people to like sign up with you and
Sign up for
yeah.
it and go ahead. So if you're unable to find a club in NUS, NUSC is there for you. All right. So I think we covered a lot of different aspects about NUS College and shared a lot of stuff. So some to end it off, like what's the best memory you have of NUS College so far?
There's a bunch of really good ones. I think like I feel like anytime I hang out with my friends, like I'm always scared that like I'll forget it. Like I keep
Mhm.
replaying it in my head, and I'm like, because we were always like laughing about some random thing. I think obviously because it's a residential experience, you're living with your friends, you go on these like late night walks at 2 a.m. I would be asleep by 2 a.m. at home, but like in college, I'm
That's true.
up and I have so much energy, and I'm just like eating cheese quesadillas from Super Snacks while we talk in Utah and we're stargazing. I think it's the cutest thing ever. And yeah, I think it's like times like that. And obviously like NUSC has given me so much in terms of like friends, in terms of opportunity. Like I'm always going to be very grateful for that place, regardless of how many times like the essays and the readings make me want to like pull out my own hair. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think, yeah, for sure. I think friends and just the entire like residential college experiences.
I was just going to say the exact same thing as you
Yeah.
mentioned. Probably, I think it's again the friends, the people you meet, the connections you make, the different backgrounds which people come from. This is something which is really interesting, and this is something which I really love about NUSC. Even though, as she mentioned, that okay, personally I hate essays, but still I would say that this thing actually compensate for all the sufferings I've been going through.
It's
I wouldn't
not
say
that
sufferings.
bad
I wouldn't
at
say
all.
sufferings. I
Very,
would say it's still fun. It's still quite fun. Otherwise, I wouldn't be in NUSC right now. But yeah, it's still fun.
there's ups and downs of
Yeah.
everything. I feel like
Mm,
obviously when you're in like a school setting, you're not used to, I guess like obviously you're not like certain times, like especially coming off of like high school and stuff, you're not used to
yeah.
being stupid. You're not used to getting like a
Mm,
B or a C.
see,
And
yeah.
then after the first time and you're like, wait, what did I do
Wait, what
wrong?
just happened? Yeah.
That's like ups and downs with uni in
Mm,
general. I think your expectations for yourself and for your academics change. Obviously, I'm not saying
mm.
that you can't get A's. I got a bunch of A pluses in NUSC. I don't think it's I don't
Don't
think it's
ask me. Don't ask me. Wait, the only A which I've gotten is probably for a CSE mod which I took in university. It was quite interesting though. Like the prof connected CS with philosophy, something which I would have never thought about. So it was very interesting and I loved it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
So, and
mm,
I guess like I've always been the kind of person to focus on what I'm learning on instead of like
mm,
my grades. Obviously, it's very hard to do that. Like that. Like there's certain times where I'm like, I need my GPA to be a certain number and it's
yeah.
not. But when you do focus on like what you're learning, you'll realize that NUSC gives you the unique opportunity to just learn so much
Mm,
that you wouldn't be
mm,
doing in your general major. NUS itself has some sort of interdisciplinary education, but it is not as intellectually challenging or stimulating.
yes. Yeah.
No way in hell. And it's not as diverse as the offerings we have in NUSC. Like I was able to do a gender studies mod in
Yeah.
NUSC, and that made me want to do a minor.
Mm,
And if that can happen to me, just think about like what like interest you may have that you don't know that you have it yet,
mm,
that will be unlocked through like these mods that you do. Yeah, I think
yeah,
that's always very,
definitely.
yeah.
Yep. Okay, so do you have any tips you want to share or anything, any general closing comments which you have?
Yeah, I think like I'll always like I think I mean if you're thinking like about whether you want to apply, I feel like a lot of my friends are like NUSC is too like it
Yeah.
seems too intelligent for me, like I don't want to
Mm,
apply or anything like that. My advice is if you're interested in something, just apply. I'm a very strong believer in like rejection therapy and the idea that like
yeah.
if you get rejected, it's good for you because you get used to the feeling. But the
Mhm.
notion is you just apply for as many things as possible because like don't
Yeah.
reject yourself until someone else rejects you.
Mm,
Because if you reject yourself, you don't even have a chance. You're taking that chance away from
yeah,
yourself. So my thing is like just
definitely.
always, if you think you're underqualified, just apply. They'll reject you, right? Like
Mm,
what's the worst that can happen? That they'll reject you. Yeah.
mhm.
Sage
True.
advice. Sage advice. I
And
did that and now I'm in New York. So you never
yeah,
you know.
true. And also, Kirti also makes vlogs and stuff about NUS. You can also follow her channel, subscribe to her channel. I'll link it down below. And
I've not
yeah,
posted in a long time, but I will soon. Thank you for
all
having
right.
me.
Yeah, thank you so much for finding some time after your clubbing. But yeah, thanks so much. It was so fun to talk to you. This meeting is gonna end, so let me just send you another one and we'll
Okay.
hop on that. What was the name for it? I forgot the name. The clubs which we have. What's that called? Sorry about that. Well,
I
she
think it was the
doesn't
day
miss me.
before I
She
before.
doesn't miss me, but that's all right, I guess. See, she has nothing to say. She
I
agrees.